Welcome back to RBR, guys, and I have been dying to drive this car because it has the potential to be the first truly desirable EV in my opinion, and what I think might be the best daily use G-Wagon in its long history. This G580 is essentially a full EV with a 116 kilowatt battery with a decent amount of range, 588 brake horsepower from 4 separate electric motors, one per wheel, 1,164 Newton meters, and a 0 to 60 that matches the outgoing G63 AMG. And it's got its own signature sound called the G Roar that I've been dying to hear. So let's get going. I want to drive this straight away. Let's get some first impressions immediately. Let's see what the G Roar sounds like on startup. It's cool, so it's got a totally different starting sound to the other Mercedes EVs. Then we'll put the car into sport and let's get going. And immediately leaving this testing ground for the G-Wagon here in Montpellier in France. Oh, listen to the G-Roar. I like that, that sounds really powerful. Okay guys, we got an open bit of road. Let's give it some beans. Oh, that sound. That sounds so cool. Listen to that. Oh, I love it. It's like a V80 type sound, but obviously no gear changes, etc. But it conveys that sense of real power. This makes me so happy. I had some reservations coming into this car. Like I said, I thought, you know, that Taycan i5 feeling, yeah, it's fast, etc. But where's the emotion? This, it's got it because everything else feels G, right? It's not like it feels like a different car. The steering, the body roll, in fact the rigidity is better. Man, this excites me so much. Now, let's park up the car for a second. We have a few other things to discuss. Let's remind ourselves what sits under the skin. Then we're going to drive the pants off this today here in Montpellier on these awesome roads, and then we will take it off-road as well and show you the very special off-roading modes that only the electric G has. Okay guys, let's park the car and my excitement on the side for a second because I've got a load to show you today. I finally have gotten in front of the internals of this car. So we're going to have a proper dive into what is, I found out to be, a marvel of engineering, how they managed to get these 4 motors and the whole thing to work properly like a G-Wagon should, or in fact even better than a G. So I can't wait to show you what is pretty much an exclusive on that. Then we will be looking at everything else about this car, performance, driving it on the road, and then we will also see what the off-roading is like today with those 3 special modes that only the electric G has. So let's check it out together. This is the first electric G-Class, the G580. Guys, it's time to upgrade your wallet game with the Ridge and their brand new MagSafe line of magnetic wallets. You're gonna love them. As you know, we love the Ridge. We love the fact that you can fit up to 12 cards in this slim little wallet. You've got RFID blocking technology to protect your cards from having money stolen. And they're so stylish and upgradable. They are simply the best wallets I've ever owned. But now they're going to another level thanks to this new MagSafe line that they've just brought out. Okay guys, here is our new carbon fiber MagSafe Ridge wallet. You can see it's just as nicely made as our normal Ridge wallets, but we have the MagSafe magnets on the back, and it's as simple as, that's it, a single click and the wallet is on the device if it's MagSafe compatible. If it's not, then you have this strengthening tray here, which you can pop onto any phone you want, and then you can attach the wallet to it. So it's a great alternative if you don't have a MagSafe device, and it's really lightweight as well. And in case you don't want to buy a new one and you like your old one, all you need to do is change the outer plate, which you can with Ridge because you've got screws, and you can upgrade it to the MagSafe one, which is amazing. In addition to all of that, we have the new phone cases. Here's the carbon fiber design. Simple as that. That is attached now on here, and then alongside the matching carbon fiber wallet, that just clicks straight on, and you've got a matching look. Phone case quality is top notch as well. You got some really nice physical buttons here. So guys, that's the new MagSafe Ridge wallets and iPhone cases. Of course, as an RBR viewer, you get a discount. Just go to ridge.com/RBR or use the code RBR and you'll get 10% off. It's an amazing wallet series, you won't regret it. Huge thanks to Ridge for supporting RBR for so many years. Now back to the car. So guys, a lot of car manufacturers frankly have taglines for their cars that you could point at and say, that's pretty much marketing bullshit. But it's hard to argue with Mercedes when they say the G Wagon is stronger than time. It's got a long history, and despite the shapes that it's taken over time, the purposes that it's served, or indeed the people that it's elevated, this is a car that's pretty much remained unchanged till today. That's how strong the G is, and it's strong because customers need it to stay that way, and the company recognizes that, right? But as strong as a car is, every car has stumbled in front of the looming and impending doom that is the electric car, and that's what we're going to discover today. Can G still be stronger than time in front of the threat of going full electric? A first and very crucial point to me is design. We all love the design of the G, and like I said, it's not changed over the years, as it shouldn't. And it's great to see that the electric G here hasn't changed at all. The G580 is essentially indistinguishable from the standard G Wagon, particularly if you spec the standard grille on the car, which you can do. You can spec the standard grille, you can have it completely stealth, or you can go for this more up-to-date black panel. The black panel was kind of inspired by Gs of old, which used to have this massive black plastic front. So if you appreciate that and you like the different glow that you have on the front, which I don't blame you because it actually looks spectacular at night, then you can go for that. Otherwise, it can be a completely stealth spec G. So guys, the design, like I said, is just a G Wagon, and we've got the perfect backdrop here to prove that. These are your G500s and G450s, and as you saw with the RBR VFX, this is basically identical, and you can change that grille to just have those. This is a great spec for the Edition 1. Black on black never fails a G Wagon, and I think it's the one that will, you know, please most people in terms of the new grille as well, because it kind of sits in the background, merging with the rest of the car. But I just love the fact that they didn't muck around with the design. The only thing that's different is that the bonnet is actually higher around the back here, and that's for aerodynamics. It's like significantly thicker around that part, which makes the car more aerodynamic. Apart from that, pretty much identical. And there's one other telltale sign, which is this vent. Again, that is a functional vent for aerodynamics to reduce the friction within the wheel back here. That's the only way you can really tell that this is an EQ technology car. So yeah, really nice. It's nice that it's identical to these, and I think the black works really well for the Edition 1. The Edition 1 gets this, which I don't like. It's this silly trim that goes along the side of the car. Rather than that, it'd be nicer just to have your standard black with white trim, or this amazing manufacturer option, which is Shockle approved. Shockle is the mountain in Graz where these are tested, along with the coordinates. I just think that's awesome. What an awesome option to have for just a trim piece. But yeah, unsurprisingly, black on G Wagon, looking bloody brilliant, isn't it? Even with the full gloss black wheels. And on the rear, no change whatsoever. Badging is nice, just says G580 as you want it to. Same lights, same everything. That is, of course, the charging port cover that we discussed. Again, probably looks best in black. Let's have another look at this. It's good, it's a good place to put that because usually you waste space in there. And whoever uses the spare wheel in a G Wagon anyway. So, yeah. What's really interesting with the electric G, you can actually choose what cover you have on the rear. Either you can have the electric port cover, you can have the traditional spare wheel, or it's the only G Wagon where you can get rid of all of it and have nothing on the rear as well, which is quite cool. It's up to you again as the customer. Design wise, I like it, this works for me. If I was gonna get an Edition 1, which I'm seriously considering, it would depend on what the drive is like later. We'll make the decision hopefully in this video. I would get it like this, I'd get it black. So yeah, very, very nice. So you can actually open the bonnet of this as well. You can hear the ambient G sound much louder in here because the sound bar actually sits within here. So that sound is the G Raw sound. You can just about hear it, and we'll discover more of that later. G Raw is a unique sound signature for the electric G to bring in that emotion that we're hopefully not going to miss now because we're used to big and nice engines. We'll see what that's like later. Of course, you guys know this already. We have got the good old keyless entry in G Wagon now as well. You see the G logo as well in there, G logo package, which is great. And then a completely unadulterated G interior, just the way we expect. Now, the Edition 1 comes in a number of different colors, but they are limited colors for this year, including blue, white, gray, black, etc. Pretty monotone, and that'll go on for this year. After that's over, next year, you'll be able to access the full line of manufacturer colors. So go for whatever color you want outside, whatever color you want inside, and you can make the electric G the way you want it to be. And the great thing is the Edition 1 in the UK starts at 180k. We thought it was going to be a lot more than the AMG. So it's come under the AMG, or the same as the standard one. And I'm hoping that means that the non-Edition 1 is going to be a little bit under still. So not bad. You know, it could have been a lot worse, and we all predicted it to be a lot worse. So we're starting off on the right foot here. So guys, that's design, and I think they've done the best thing. It's an ethos of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now we come on to the next topic, which is performance. Within the traditional ladder chassis here, they've made space for a 116 kilowatt usable battery. But the space within the ladder chassis is actually really, really small. So it's not like they've shoved an EQS battery in here. No, they've had to make a whole new battery for the electric G. And in fact, it's a 2-layer battery. So your cells sit in 2 layers with 3 layers of cooling, specifically made for this, which is great. But when you fit that in, you unfortunately get rid of some really necessary rigidity bars in there as well. So what they've done is they've added this extra layer, this black shell that you can see on top of it, which is bolted on, and it helps with the rigidity and the protection of the battery. But that paired with the underguard protection, which is made out of carbon fiber, makes this, with the battery, more rigid than the standard G. So it's a win-win-win. Now, speaking of that underguard protection, it's made of carbon, like I said, and actually, it is super, super impressive. In fact, it is so strong, you can leave just that underguard protection there sitting on a stone, and you could balance 3 G Wagons on top. How crazy is that? So a 116 kilowatt battery, protected underneath for off-roading, and tested on test benches to make sure going in water at high temperatures, twisting, turning, everything it will survive, right? Which is great. What's the range on the battery? 290 miles WLTP. Which, look, let's take the view it's like Taycan and it's like 220 or something. That is still bloody impressive for a 3-ton vehicle, right? I'm impressed with that. And what's more impressive, on off-roading, it could go around the Schokkel for 2 days and do 14 laps non-stop on a full battery. So it's not like off-roading is somehow going to kill the battery quicker. So like I said, very, very impressive. Then we come to the motors, which is the next important topic. So this car has 4 electric motors, 1 per wheel, and they're super powerful. Up to 146 HP and 290 plus Newton meters per wheel, okay? Which is insane. And we needed to have 4 electric motors because we haven't got your differential locks as you do in the standard G Wagon. Instead, we need the 4 motors in order to manage the power individually. Come in closer and let's have a really exclusive look together at them. The lamest Michael Jackson you've ever seen. I borrowed Chief Engineer Ralph's glove here for a checkup. No, I'm kidding. This is the extremely important double motor setup that goes on each axle. So we've got 2 motors, as you guys know. I've drilled that into you. There's 1 motor per wheel, but there's also 2 gearboxes per wheel. And what you have to realize is how compact this is. Look what a small area it fits in within the ladder chassis. That's some crazy engineering. The fact that we have 2 full electric motors giving us that insane power per motor, remember, is insane that it fits within this. So we've got 1 motor right here. This is our first motor, you can see here. When this turns, you can see this wheel turning here. If I do this again, you'll see the motor turning. So that controls 1 of our wheels, right? And again, if I turn this wheel, you can see that moves. So that's your 2 motors. Each motor also has its own gearbox with 2 speeds in there. 1 is for low range, for your off-roading, and 1 is high range for your normal on-road stuff. And again, that's per wheel, which is why it makes this car as good, if not better than the standard G Wagon. To me, it's just an absolutely mind-blowing bit of engineering this, how they've managed to negate all of the challenges that they had ahead of them and make an electric G better than the original G. And they had to do it in such a complicated way, but kudos. So guys, that's the motors and that's the insane engineering behind this thing. I love the fact that they aimed for G and just went higher. And it's not just that. Let's look at the final figures. 588 brake horsepower, so more than the G63, okay? They did this on purpose. These guys are crazy. They're trying to get above the AMG. 1164 Newton meters, which is insane. And a 0 to 60, that matches the standard G Wagon at 4.5 seconds, which again, we will try on the road later. Let's see what we get. Now, if we compare that to the new G63 Performance, the G63 Performance is a bit more powerful because it gets the mild hybrid system, and it's quicker at 4.3 seconds, and it has the awesome semi-active suspension system with the hydraulic pumps, etc. So that still sits above this, as it should. But who knows? These crazy guys at G in Graz could make a level above this in the future if they wanted to as well. Now, let's talk about off-roading. Off-roading with electric G, it's on the same level and sometimes better than the normal G. So all of the metrics that make off-roading in the normal G apply to this as well, except that this has an even higher wading depth, so it can go even further into water, which is really impressive. But it also gets something else. It gets 3 unique modes that only the electric G gets, okay? And we're going to talk about those and show you them right now. So guys, I've shown you this in the past. I've never got to do it myself, and I've never actually driven the G580 in my life yet, and the first time I'm ever going to drive it, I actually have one of the very clever G engineers here with me who's helping me out. It's going to be doing the G-turn, which is the famous thing about this car. So we're going to do it now. The way that you do it, I will show you. It can only be done when you're in low range as well, so it's not like you can just do it on the street at a traffic light or something stupid like that. So guys, as I said, you need to be in low range. Then we need to go into drive, and then we touch this, which is the greatest button in the car, in a car in the world, which is a G-turn. That's come up on here, and as you can see with the arrows, you can either go left or you can go right. So, and in order to do that, basically you use the paddles. You have to hold the paddles. That's what we're going to do now. Let's see what happens. This is so cool. It has no job being this cool. And there's one final thing you can do that Christian just informed me, is that you can actually control the amount of turning you're doing. So we're going to do that now. Right, so hold down the paddle and... Ah, yes. That's cool, so you can decide like where you want to look.
Yeah.
So, hello. Hey, how you doing? Hey guys. That's cool, I like that. That's very good. Well done, my friend. That is...
Thank you too.
Absolutely excellent, absolutely excellent. So that's the G-turn, that's one of the 3, and it just puts a smile on your face. So guys, the second one we're going to do is called G-steering, but you can't really explain it that well. You need to see it in action. It kind of blocks our rear wheel and gives this kind of almost mini drifty look, but the purpose of it is to give you better maneuverability while you're doing off-roading things in shorter turning. So it's a very clever system, but it's super fun as well. That's why we want to show you on film, so let's do that now. That is so cool. That is very cool.
Nice.
So as you guys can see, super useful in short little turnings because you block that rear wheel, pushes the car out, gives you maximum maneuverability, and then you can do silly little drift things as well, which is great. Who doesn't want to do silly little drift things? And again, these aren't available in the combustion G, only in our electric G. All right guys, here we are in the G580 back on the road. Let's start first with power and speed, because we've got 588 brake horsepower. 0 to 60, that is meant to match the outgoing G63 AMG, and oh, it has got some power. Let's go into sport mode here, so we get the sound changes in sport. It does. We'll get onto sound in a minute. Oh, I'm making strange old man sounds. Oh, ooh, ah. That's what this car is making me feel like. Oh wow, it's so dynamic for such a big car. This is stunning. Speed is great. It's just like the G63, genuinely. Really quick, really fast, so much torque on offer. You feel that. In fact, that element kind of reminds you of the diesel, which is only a good thing. Yes, this is very powerful. Now, just at the start of this drive, I want you guys to also bear in mind we're at 82% and it's quoting me 209 to around about 220 miles. So it's matching up to the estimates that they've given us. And that is honestly, that's a lot more than I was getting in my Taycan 4S from 80%. So any doubts about the range element here, and remember I'm driving like an absolute moron here, should be put aside, because the range, in my opinion, for such a big car, more than enough. And not just more than enough, but let's say you want to buy this car 10 years from now, it's not suddenly a product that doesn't make sense. It's doing a decent amount of range that is usable for the rest of its time, right? So speed and power, no doubt. And the great thing about the speed is it's fun driving faster, it's fun accelerating. Let's slow down for a second and let's give it some beans. Just the sound, like that emotion and the pleasure that you get from accelerating the G Wagon. G customers understand that, right? Because it's an inherent thing that we have, particularly with the V8 ones, that this sounds so much like. And I would bemoan anyone who says that they don't like the electric sound. Normally I say it's up to you, but here it's exciting, it's relevant, it works with the heritage, it's safer because you know what the car is doing when it's doing it, accelerating, decelerating, etc. Why wouldn't you want it? I just think, you know, you got to move with the times, and when the times are so exciting, why the hell not? Now, to really test the speed, I want to test the 0 to 60, okay? To do that, we're going to stop the car. Now, this car doesn't have launch control. Instead, I'm just going to put it on hold. I'm going to put my pedal to the metal. Let's see what time we get. It's quick. So we got a time of 4.4 seconds, which is basically on par with the quoted figures, which is bloody quick for a 3-ton car. And remember as well now that this is one that has got the same power as the G63, but that much heavier. And it's only the first electric G, so that is pretty damn impressive. Now, sound, let's talk about the sound. We're going to move into comfort mode, and let's slow down a little bit. Comfort is a much more subdued version of the G Raw sound, as I think you would probably want it to be. Yes, when you accelerate it, you hear it, and it's there, and it's present. And it's nice because it still tells you like what the car is doing. You know, it gives you the necessary feedback that you want, and it still sounds powerful. It's kind of like when you have a V8 in comfort mode, right? So all of that makes sense. But you move into sport, and particularly go into double recuperation mode, it really sounds powerful. And it feels like I have an engine, because like we said, we've got the sound bar in the front that's emitting sound as well. You've got all the speakers here doing their job. Mercedes now have a lot of experience with sound, and I just think it adds so much to the experience. I love it, absolutely love it. Best electric car sound so far that I've experienced. Next, let's talk about handling, because big car, right? But like they said, it is more rigid thanks to the measures surrounding the battery, which is a good thing. The steering feels great. The body roll, very, very similar. The braking seems okay to me. Going into a sharp turn here, turning. Honestly, it just reminds me of a G63. I can't, you know, it's in for a penny, in for a pound in terms of the weight when it comes to cars like these now. And the cool thing is, you know, you're going through a town, you've just done the school run, you're in comfort mode, you're not guzzling gas, are you? You're not spending ridiculous amounts of money just to do short little chores. And that's the essence of this, isn't it? This is what I think will make it such a good seller to someone like me who's had a lot of G63s, and you don't want to use them in and around town. You don't really want to use them for the chores and stuff, even though it's probably the best car to do it because it's the most practical. Because it's just absolutely going to ship money, isn't it? Whereas this doesn't. It's so cheap to charge at home if you've got a home charger. If you haven't, then bloody forget about it. But yeah, it ticks all of the boxes without that massive, massive cost. And I hope that because this is got enough range, because it's so desirable as a G, it's not going to shit its pants when it comes to value either. Because I think this element, the slow driving of this car, really matters as well. And if it were me, I'd be driving it slow in still in sport mode, so I still get that nice rumble out of the car. and you got a really decent amount of range being quoted as well. Yeah, I think the handling is spot on. For such a big car, in for a penny, in for a pound when it comes to the weight, I'm not feeling that massive penalty here. The rigidity measures that they've added, the other changes to the kinematics and the suspension, the steering feels nice and weighted in sport mode as well. It's not like it's all wishy-washy as it would be in any other standard Mercedes-Benz. It feels like a G. The off-roading capability is exactly the same. You got those incredible extra driving modes that are just fantastic, especially G steering. I love that. I need to find a dirt track when I get my car, and I really do want one of these. I can't give it a bigger recommendation or thumbs up or whatever you want to call it than that. Like, this excites me. It's the first EV to properly excite me without any massive downfalls. Is the cost big? Yeah, it probably is, but the cost of everything is stupid at the moment, and if there's one car that does hold its value pretty well, it's a G Wagon, I think, and particularly one, you know, like this, that I think is going to be massively attractive to a lot of people. How does it compare to G63? As we stand right now, I haven't driven the G63 performance. That's what I'm about to do straight after this. It's been a long day. It's like 6:30, and I've got to do that whole video for you guys still, which is my pleasure to do. So I haven't driven that yet. I don't know what the performance is like. Versus the standard G63, this really reminds me a lot of it. Okay, I can't give it higher praise than that in that regard. It feels similar in terms of steering, handling. The power on offer is great. It hasn't quite got the punch off the line that the G63 has. It just doesn't, despite having similar power, and a lot of that is down to the weight. But for a car that's got a cheaper base price, I think that's all right. Versus its siblings in the G500 and the G450, I prefer this because, like I said, the running costs for me, when I think about it, are just going to be that much lower, because you can charge a full battery like this, even if you haven't got a good charging tariff, at least in the UK, for something like 20 to 25 pounds, versus you'll be filling a full tank of diesel, etc., for, you know, well over £100. So this will be, I think, cheaper to run. The diesel is still a great bet. It's still a great bet, but you know, it's gonna ship money on short journeys, isn't it? Which this won't. I think this ticks all the G boxes. It's got the design and the heritage. It's got the off-roading capability. It's got the performance to match the top performance Gs, and it's got all of those wonderful intangible things that we love about G still existing in it. And it's not suddenly worse off being an EV, which I think was their goal, and it's what we needed, and it's what has been delivered, and I love it. It's the most exciting EV I've ever driven, I think, and I really can't wait to get one. It's a great car, period. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed my first drive of the electric G-Class. I think it's the first car in the world that I've driven, at least, that has come up against the spectre of the electric car and is still stronger than time. So you're going to see a lot more content of this car on the channel, deservedly so. If you've enjoyed this, please do like and subscribe to RBR. I see so many comments on the channel saying, Raz, why haven't you got 5 million subscribers? The channel's amazing, etc., etc. Why haven't you got more manufacturers on the channel? We don't care about the subscriber number, but a lot of manufacturers do. So if you want to see your favorite manufacturer on the channel, hit the subscribe button. Huge thanks for all the love you guys give us, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm going to have a bit more fun with this actually exciting electric car.